Welcome to episode 1 of Oliver's Very Easily Convinced to Do Things. I decided who suggested it? I think it might have been Buffy. I'm not fact-checking that now. I'm so sorry, whoever it was. Someone suggested it, like, semi as a joke, and I was like, I could actually do that. So I've rewatched a bunch of scenes, I've taken notes, and I've written down all my headcanons for all the characters and dancing and all that. And so, yeah, I don't know how long, I have no idea how long this is going to be. I'm just going to keep talking until I have nothing left to say. I've dressed up in my swing finest. This is a lie, this is something, I'd wear it to like one of the weekly events. I can get very fancy, it's very fun. Okay, I'm going to start with the scenes first. So, the first scene that has Lindy Hop, the only scene that has Lindy Hop in the entirety of Agent Carter, all the other dance scenes are not, no, they're not, it's not Lindy, is Spider Raymond's club. This scene, oh my god, it pisses me off because it flicks so quickly back and forth between like Peggy and the dancers. I don't get to like see what they're dancing, but these dances are good. Okay, watching closely, there are 3 couples like at the front of, so if you're looking at the scene, you can see the ballroom and there's 3 couples dancing, doing well. They're incredible dancers. I was watching, they do mostly swing outs, tuck turns, but at one point they do like a cool like double spin textile. It was very cool, but very experienced dancers. You can clearly tell these are Lindy Hoppers. And so I was like, oh, I wonder if I can check the credits to find out who these dancers are. Nowhere. Nothing, not on IMDb, not on the episode itself, not on any page I could find, except there is a YouTube video from when Agent Carter was coming out, the guy who does like Lindy Hop vlogs, that like every week would do like a, hey, here's what's happening in the Lindy world, and for like a tiny part of that blog he was like, and Agent Carter just came out and it has a scene in which they're Lindy hopping. And since he's an LA dancer, I believe it was filmed in LA, because he's like, oh yeah, and I recognized all of these dancers, here are all their names, and like here's some behind the scenes photos. I'll share that video with you guys because I found it really interesting. I thought it was really cool. But apparently like these LA dancers, they just like got a call and was like, hey, do you want to come like swing dance on a TV show? And they're like, come to audition. So I did. And then at no point I got told what show they were doing. It was only when they were like in costuming. Apparently one of the guys is also like a Marvel fan, so he recognized some of the names on the costume racks and went, oh my god, we're in a Marvel show. But anyway, apparently it was also, well, it was an 18-hour day apparently, which was really interesting. I guess, yeah, I've got all the names here. I did search up how they're doing that. A lot of them are ball dancers, like doing competitively at Cal Bal and all that, which kind of makes sense, to be fair. LA, California, that's where Bal is from. I guess there's a lot bigger Bal scene over there than there is. Oh, Bal is Balboa. Balboa is a swing dance that originated in California around the same time as Lindy, but it was a little bit after Lindy. New York, Harlem, all that, the Savoy Ballroom, Harlem Renaissance was very much where Lindy Hop originated, but it quickly spread across the country. And then Balboa was California. Packed dance halls, tight, small movement. It's a very fun dance. I still need to learn more of it. What was I saying about Bal? Yeah, there are a lot of Bal dancers now. One of them's also a singer. Quite a few of them competed at ILHC, which is the International Lindy Hop Championships, which is so cool. Like, these are good dancers, and you can tell by the way they dance.
And here I'm just going to play some of the clips of the dances I found. In this one it is the Follow, I believe, is in Agent Carter. This one is also the Follow. This is Balboa specifically. This is Cal Bal. This is again the Follow. This is Laura Keat at another Bal performance. This is the lead in this one. This is National Jitterbug. This is Lindy Hop. And this clip, both these dancers, it's Jeremy Off and Laura Keat. I'm playing this clip in the entirety because this is the best Balboa I've ever seen performed. Like, holy shit, these two are fucking incredible.
back to the scene. So yeah, 3 couples at the front. Everyone else on the floor is not Lindy hopping. They're just kind of standing there and rocking, just so it creates the atmosphere of people dance, a lot of people dancing, without actually having to hire more than 3 couples to dance. Like you're not going to notice the first few times around, but like I was looking at each individual couple to see what moves they were doing, and half those couples were not dancing. It's very funny. Couples. Yeah, I tried to keep track of what moves they were doing. I think they were giving you a basic 18-hour filming day. You want to just do the same moves over and over. So a lot of real classics. You have lots of swing outs. Tuck turns, American spins. This is also the basis of my Lindy hopping. Every Lindy hopper just does that shit when they get tired. Also, every time I hear the music for that scene, Spider at the Club, the dun 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 dun, and my head goes, I know that song, I've danced that song. I haven't, I think I've figured it out. The reason it's so familiar is just because they use it in so many episodes in Agent Carter. It's their like classic, it's their big band swing music that they play when Peggy's fighting or like people are dancing. But it fucks with me because it does sound like so many of the big band songs I know and I dance to. And so my brain goes, oh, I don't know the song, I know it from Agent Carter. But I guess that just shows how well the composers did of making a truly, like, really authentic 40s big band. I should see if there's a copy of that song somewhere, because I would love to dance to it. It's a very fun song. Yeah, like I was watching, they had really good swivels. If you watch it, they swivels on when you come around and swing out, they like follow to a twist, they got their hands up in the air. It's very, I don't know what other people think of Lindy Hop actually. I don't know if I can say it's like recognizably Lindy Hop to anyone but Lindy Hoppers, but it is very Lindy Hop. I should like make you guys a demo video of all these moves that I mentioned. I'll keep track of them. Oh my god, one of the leads did this like swing out into a lead spin that I learned ages ago, could never get it right, and he did it, and he actually made it look good somehow. Not somehow, it's probably easy to make it look good. Charlotte made it look good and she taught it. I just can't. And then we get to Peggy dancing. Hayley Atwell does not know how to swing dance. I get it is hard to swing dance while doing that like conversation and all that, but they're not trying to Lindy Hop, but in a ballroom full of Lindy Hoppers, it's a big band swing. In New York, it's meant to be Lindy Hop, I feel. And so the first clip we see, Peggy like grabs him and they sort of jockey for it. Jockeying is at the start of the song. You're just kind of standing with your partner, rocking back and forth, getting to hear the music, and then when you find the one, you can go and then start. And then the first start move would be a rock step, which is a step back, and that was recognizably rock step. It was perfect, the jockeying, and then leads, and then rock step, and then it cuts off, so we don't see the rest of it when we get back to them. Then they're not. No. First of all, my first major gripe I had with it, if it was meant to be Lindy, the hand. There was a hand, they had ballroom hands. Lindy Hop, it's low. You sort of hook over like that because it's easy to move and spin, but it's low. If you can see your hand up there, that's called the W of sadness because it looks like a W, kind of one person, and that's bad. Drop your hand. But they had up ballroom hand. And they were a lot closer. Lindy is very 90-degree angle. They were a lot closer to like 45-degree, very inwards, which is closer to shag positioning. They were not doing shag, by the way. Like, that's very different. Not doing shag. Val has that. That's even more close, and they're also not doing Val. It is closer to ballroom styles, which I would assume more of the actors would have more experience with, and that's, I guess, just how they went. Didn't ask any of the Lindy Hoppers they had on set, I guess. Okay, it's day 2, I'm editing. And like rewatching through, like I have more to say. The arm position. How did I like not? I was doing like the hand up, the arm. So okay, in Lindy Hop, you connect, and that inner elbow to the lead's elbow. That connection there is the most important connection in the entire dance. It is where majority of the leading and following comes from, is that inner connection. The hand on the back, like, it helps a little bit, but that the follows arm, that is what creates the most connection. It's the most important. Going backwards, sideways, around, spins, everything closed, you need that inner elbow. Their connection is so bad. But it's because they are in a very face-to-face shape, and so their arms are like that, connecting, which isn't that fucking good. That would work. It's because they have to be, but they're keeping like distance enough to act and be not like too romantic. So, but then you could fix that by opening it up a bit and dancing properly, get your shapes right and get your connections right. But just like the arm, I was just like watching through it again, and I was like, the arm is so bad. Like, you could not dance with your arms like that. And I guess they aren't. They're just like going back and forth. So that fucking makes sense. But okay, my like theory explanation in my head that makes me feel better about this is it's more flirty. Peggy's trying to like seduce this man into dancing with her, and so pull in close, get the hand up, because that's more like close position, which is a bit more flirty, I guess. I don't buy it. Like, I think it's very obviously just they didn't know how to Lindy Hop. But like, that's what I'm annoyed when they first go in, like that's hand there, but then they drop it to do the rock step. So obviously someone knows how to do a rock step and dance like that, but whatever. Couldn't have expected better. The dip. Peggy's like, dip me, and I dip, and like I get it's plot reasons. They need to do the dip for plot reasons, and I couldn't really think of anything else. I have one thought. I'll complain about dips and then give you how I would have done that. Dips in Lindy Hop. Except maybe at the end of a dance. Like at the end you pull it and then you do a dip. That's common, but during the dance it's not a thing. It's not done. At least currently there, when it was evolving, you might be able to find some clips from like 20s, 30s, early Lindy, and maybe that you could potentially find a dip when it was like, but no, dips are more later. It is not a thing done in Lindy Hop. It's not part of the dance, it's not part of the moves, and it just makes it very clear that they're not dancing. This is a actor's idea who's seen a bit of ballroom of what Lindy Hop looks like, unfortunately. Which sucks because the hoppers in the back of the scene look incredible. Apologies, I think it's on board. My dad almost walked past. Okay. Tips. Well, where was I? Sorry, I had to stop for a second. Yeah, like they had Lindy Hoppers on set. I would hope that they could do better, but like it is hard to portray conversation while accurately dancing Lindy, and also then you have to teach the footwork, because that's also what they were not doing. They were just doing like a step hold, step hold, step hold, step hold, step hold, back and forth, which is not Lindy footwork. Technically, okay, you could make an argument that is Lindy footwork just because Lindy Hop is a 2-count dance. That's okay. I'm just saying things that don't make sense. So Lindy Hop there's this thing of Lindy Hop is a 2-count dance, as in it is made up of 2 counts, 1, 2. You can do whatever you want on those 2 counts, but things usually come in 2s. You can do a rock step, triple step, all that stuff. It's in 2-step, hold, kick step. But it's commonly taught in 6s or 8s. So taught rock step, triple step, or rock step, triple step, 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 triple step. 6, 8. As a teaching tool, most moves are taught in 6s and 8s. Some 4s, but that's when you get higher and that's when you start figuring out, oh, it's a 2-count dance, you can do whatever you want. And so the problem there is, it's not Lindy footwork. Lindy Hop is a swing dance, and the part that makes it swung is the syncopation. I don't know how you guys do more music than me. You probably understand vaguely what syncopation means, but it's the triple step. Instead of hitting each beat like in ballroom, even do think they even do jive in ballroom, but even so, I think that is still very much on the beat, more on the beat than Lindy Hop is. Lindy Hop is behind the beat, in the pocket of the beat. These are words that don't really make sense, like unless you're dancing Lindy for a while, and then you like figure out, oh, that's what that means. But like it's behind it, the syncopation, and so without the triple steps, it is not even a swing dance, really. They're not swing dancing. Without the triple step, without the syncopation and fitting the bum, 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 that music, the swing of it, you can't say that they're dancing swing. Sorry, Peggy, sorry, Haley. That was really shitty, Lindy, if you were trying to do that. What else? Yeah, and then, also, like, we get to see someone's, like, hand go past doing swivels, and I'm like, yes. Oh my god, there's a dancer. No, this isn't relevant. I told you about the LA dancers. Okay, then the only other dance scenes I could find were Chadwick's party, Jason's date, and the Little Song and Dance dream sequence. None of those which are Lindy. Dance sequence has a few Lindy moves, but I'll come to that later. I'm just gonna go quickly through like Chadwick's party and the Jason date scene. Okay, so Chadwick's party, it's ballroom. It's very, you see Jarvis and Dottie dancing, which Dottie is a phenomenal dancer, which makes sense. She's ballet dancer. She would have been taught this shit at the Red Room. But it's very, like, rigid, spinning around the floor like that. That is ballroom, very quintessentially ballroom. I don't know enough about ballroom to comment on the style or anything like that, but it is instantly recognizable as ballroom. Additionally, the music isn't swung, it's very like piano chorus, which makes sense for a fancy party like that. Lindy Hop is a street dance, which is funny because we don't see it as that much nowadays because it's been, it's like fucking gentrified. All the white people dance now, which is awful. I really support more like black people getting into swing dancing because that's the origins of it. I say as a white person who dances Lindy Hop, but like, you know what I mean? It originated on the streets of Harlem, which makes it, in today's terms, hip hop. The hip hop comes from Lindy. That's that line of dance, and that's why for a fancy party like that, they would not be Lindy hopping. Absolutely not. That even at the time, they probably would have seen it as a commoners dance. Even in the 40s, 30s, it would have been really 40s, 50s. Once it started East Coast, once rockabilly started getting in. It would have still not that like top level, so it would not be Lindy hopping. Else fancy as fuck. I did write that. See, I'm struggling to read my own notes, which is an issue. I do this all the time. But they did do. Okay, I did watch it all the way through just to like see, and Jarvis does this like bring into a dip, which was so smooth. Like, by the way, I want to learn. Lindy doesn't have dips, which is unfortunate, but like that bring-in, so nice. It was like a spin one too. Okay, then Jason's date. Did I take notes on the date? I don't think I did because I watched it and I was like, this isn't. I didn't because it isn't like the singer is kind of a stand-in for Billie Holiday, I fear. And it's more of it is a slow dance. So you would be lending into that. Could potentially be classified more under a blues dance, which I've started to do a little bit of blues. It's kind of, you can do Lindy footwork, but it's just a bit more like slow. But they weren't doing like a performing blues dance. This was very much like a romantic slow dance, which you also see music like this and dancing like this in Endgame. Sorry, I have beef with that scene. Don't we all have beef with that scene? But yeah, if that's slow dance, it wouldn't be classified Lindy. And I would hesitate to call it blues because it's not that real performance blues that I dance. I call it performance blues, but I just mean like dancing more for the sake of dancing than for the sake of like swaying with a partner, which I feel like is more what they were going for then. Also, again, hand up. What is with these actors and their hands have to go up for dancing? I don't get it. It's just harder to dance. with your hand up. I don't know. Argue with the battle dances, I guess. Okay, a little song and dance. This is something I was like, oh, there might be some Lindy Hop in here. Okay. This I had to go through like my notes while watching it, and then I did a bit of research afterwards about like who the dancers were in it, so I'm going to come to that after. It's very Broadway style choreo, even with the like I guess that's the point of it. It's designed to look like Broadway show, like Guys and Dolls. I went to see Guys and Dolls in Sydney. It was so good. But overall, that's what it was like. It's very choreography, single solo choreography, a bit of like jazz styling. I would still not fully class it as jazz or solo jazz, because I do know quite a bit of that because there's a lot of crossover with Lindy, and a lot of dancers do Lindy, do solo jazz while doing Lindy. But I still felt I could tell that it was a bit of contemporary mixed in, a bit of Broadway style, rather than just pure solo jazz. Also, is that actually Enver singing? Like, holy shit. I think it is, because it was definitely Hayley singing later. Like, that's, Mountains of Grace. So many dips, but like, I guess that's the vibe of it. And there were a lot of dips, more dips Broadway-wise, I guess. Because that makes sense, because when you're doing choreo, you don't have to worry about follow lead. That's why there's not many dips in Lindy Hop, I guess, because of the improv. It's hard to lead a dip to get it in well, and the footwork and the timing, it doesn't suit it. But when you're doing choreo, you can just change all of it however you want to make sure the dip fits. And then, okay, so like when they're on the stage, Angie pulls Peggy up onto the stage, there's in the background the dancers around, they do a tiny bit of Lindy. They do a tuck turn, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, and then a swing out, and then a follow outside spin, which looks very cool. It's got the spins. They do a lot of connected hand spins, which looks very Lindy, I think. It looks very choreo. It looks good. It looks for what they were doing. The hand spins work well. And then back to choreo and no more Lindy Hop for the rest of the episode. But like, it's a lot of, sometimes they do certain things that like that kind of looks like they're trying to emulate Lindy, but like it's not. The only bit we had was swing outs, which hell yeah, good on them for mastering those swing outs. They looked pretty good. Okay, and then so I did a bit of research. Turns out all those dancers were from Dancing with the Stars, which makes so much sense. They are ballroom / choreo dancers. And that's exactly what it is. It was very choreo. Yeah. But I'm a little disappointed I didn't have a bit more Lindy in there. I think that would have been really fun. But I get that's not what they're going for. They can't put Lindy in every scene, but I wish they could have. That's pretty much all. Oh, and then there's the mention. We get a mention of the East Coast and Shag, which I had messaged in the group chat about before, but I did a little bit more research. And okay, so we have Anna's mention of East Coast. I would like to mention a little bit. I haven't done a heap of research to this. Most of my knowledge of what people should and shouldn't call East Coast comes from people I've talked to in the community, who I trust with my whole heart. I would trust anything and everything Charlotte says, but she expressed that it's very much not a term that is encouraged to be used in the swing dancing community. I know that it is used still in the ballroom community for reasons. I'll get into the origins of East Coast in a second. So, Lindy Hop was Black American dance. It was a street dance. It was not, there was no set of moves. It was being figured out and discovered. It wasn't easily taught or commercialized or turned very, a lot of the other dances at the time were very competitive. Lindy was not created as a competitive dance. There was no standards that people were being marked against. It was just do what the hell you want and have fun with it. And there was a guy who saw this dance and went, I bet I can monetize this. So he simplified it, he turned it into just 6 count, and called it East Coast Swing. the point of this was enabled to monetize it, be able to make it competitive, and to market it to white people, essentially. This was a white guy who took a Black American dance and bastardized it to earn money from it, which is fucked up. But that terminology continued for a while. I'm not quite sure, because Lindy really died out between like 50s and 80s, 90s when the resurgence happened. So I'm not quite sure how the terminology tracked in between, but I believe ballroom kept using it because that's what it was marketed then into ballroom, because then you could grade it more specifically. You could be more specific. I believe it would be similar to what ballroom considers like jive and jitterbug. Again, I don't really know anything about ballroom, so I don't really know what it's considered with those things, but I do know I had an argument with someone who used to do ballroom in a different Agent Carter server because I was, again, complaining about the usage of the term East Coast swing, and she was like, no, but we use it in ballroom. I was like, great, wonderful. And so in Lindy Hop community, it's encouraged not to use it. Some of the older dancers would still use it. I haven't heard it personally in my scene, but I do know I've seen it online. I've seen people go, oh, but I call it this where I am. Is that bad? Mostly because racism. You don't want to use a term that was purely created to erase the contributions to the dance of Black Americans, and also it's not. You call it Lindy Hop. It is Lindy Hop, but just simplified. So just call it Lindy Hop. And also, so then while I was doing a bit of research, seeing if anyone else had done any dance analysis of Agent Carter, I found a forum from when it was first coming out, and like a dance forum, people were chatting about Agent Carter. And apparently I also I was going to do some research on it myself, but I didn't. That's okay. But apparently East Coast would not have been a common term at the time. Because I was under the impression of like, I don't know, they are white. It doesn't make sense that they would have been marketed to as white people, but apparently East Coast did not become a term until even later than this. So it's both racist and historically inaccurate, so. Okay, back with a little bit more research. Apparently when Arthur Murray, who's the guy created it for his studios, he called it Eastern Swing originally, and it was only, I think it was in the 60s someone called it East Coast Swing, and then name became popular 70s, 80s. So, not historically accurate and racist. Thanks, Agent Carter writers. This is why you don't trust ballroom people who don't know Lindy to write about swing dance. And then the shag thing, I did check the origins of collegiate shag. Wikipedia page doesn't mention the college students, but I have it on. I trust Charlotte. Charlotte said it was college students. I should not blindly trust Charlotte, but I do, and no one is ever going to be able to stop me from doing that. But she said college students and also collegiate college. I believe that is the origins of it. It was more like the other dates, and so I'm not quite sure. Historicalness, I've gone like, yeah, maybe they probably could have been dancing collegiate shag, but bell would have been such a better option. I'll come back to the shag bell thing later when I get into the headcanons of each character. I think that's all the references in the series of dancing. I'm actually going to see if I can put in some of these clips while I'm talking about it, because I think that'd be fun and a better demonstration than I'm going to be able to give alone in my room trying to dance a two-person dance. And now I get to the headcanons. I was going to do a bit about the music too, but I'll do that now because I didn't do any research on it and I can't be bothered. Obviously there's quite a few swing songs used. Pistol Back and Mama is the one kind of everyone remembers. That's just iconic, I feel. It's not... I don't hear it too much at dance events, so I don't think it's a massively popular swing song. Swing dance song. But Tis You Is You Ain't My Baby. The song that Angie mentions. I think I did steal this analysis from someone on Tumblr ages ago, but I know the song. We dance to it quite often. It's a decently popular swing song. Usually sung by a man, by the way. It's got very feminine. I always forget where the camera is. I'm looking at the screen, not the camera. But I have heard. Okay, Oz Big Band was performing it 2 weeks ago, and they have a lead female singer, and she did switch the pronouns. The line I remember is, "A woman is a creature. Always been strange. Gonna make a change." But like woman, she, her. And the singer did change, I believe, to "A man is a creature that's always been strange. As soon as you're sure of one thing, he has gone and made a change." And sure, Angie could have done that. She could have. But it's more fun to think that she was singing a woman. And also, like, the lyrics of the song are very pagan. Like, this is, I'm pretty sure it's mentioned in the episode where Angie's trying to, like, convince Peggy to come live at her house. And Peggy's being all, like, distant and cold. And that's so Is You Ain't My Baby vibes, right? Like, as soon as you're sure of one thing, she's gone and made a change. Angie, you're a lesbian. I see you. That's all the music I can remember. Other than that, I think they did like write a lot of their own big band songs. I was gonna go through and check all the music they used in because I know there's a list somewhere, but I couldn't be bothered. Maybe I'll add on to this after I've finished the headcanons. Okay, headcanons. I'm so excited. I know we've had discussions about this before, but I've taken some people's opinions into account. But I have a lot of opinions. Peggy, our main girl, I don't think she likes to dance. I don't think she would do it socially for fun. She can dance, obviously. She would have learned it. I think she would have had like the basic understanding that most people in that era would have had as like a semi-middle class, upper class. I think she went to a private school. She's probably upper class British family, but she probably know how to dance. And like, I guess dance. I don't know too much about the culture, actually. Moving on. But she would have learned lead and follow and everything for during the war, I believe. Also, like, it was actually kind of historically accurate during the war for women to learn to lead, men to learn to follow, because all the men went off to war, women were left on their own, and they were like, well, I still want to dance, I'm going to learn to lead. And then the same was the men would have to learn to follow, A, so they could then teach the locals how to Lindy, but then also B, so they could just dance with their friends. The whole like gendered lead follow thing, it was actually a lot less harsh than a lot of people assume it to be, and a lot less harsh than it is currently in ballroom and was about 10 years ago, which shouldn't be fucking surprised. But I think she wouldn't go out and dance socially. I think we know that. Her conversation with Colleen, I like turned off. I've got my fancy lighting, and it's shit, but my dad got it off like Amazon probably. She doesn't won't go out because she was like, I think her conversation with Colleen, like, she's not one to go out and dance socially, partly because busy with work, whatever, but I don't think she would. She doesn't seem like particularly eager to dance. But yeah, I'm getting here waiting for the right partner reference joke inside here. But I think that's true. I think Peggy would really enjoy dancing with people she likes. I think she did enjoy dancing with Jason. And I think that's what she would enjoy it as something more intimate than I would. I do it very socially. A lot of people in the community right now do it socially. But I think Peggy would not do it socially. She would do it romantically. She would lead Angie. I'm stuck on whether she would prefer lead or follow. I think she's definitely an ambi dancer, but she's both. I think I did tell someone on the server before that there wasn't a term for both. I have since learned that you call them ambidancers, like ambidextrous. Very fun. She's definitely an ambi-dancer, but I'm not sure whether she prefers each. I think as a follow, she would be a very heavy follow, very opinionated follow. I think she would follow like Charlotte. Okay, warning, in this section, I'm going to mention a lot of dancers I know and be like, oh, I think this person dances like Charlotte, like Bron, like Ben, like Jet. I'm going to see if I can find videos of these people dancing and put them in the chat, but in my mind, it's like helping me. You don't know any of these people. These are like people I know. But she follows like Charlotte. Charlotte's a very heavy lead. She knows where she's going if she's gonna. She doesn't do too many stylings, but when she does, they're good and they are just a lot of stretch, a lot of weight, a lot of power. I think she would kill a switch dance. Peggy would kill a switch dance. I'm going to mention that later in a different person's category. But Dottie, Peggy and Dottie, I think, like, I can't really imagine a scenario where they would be dancing, but theory, imagine they are dancing. They still kind of hate each other. They would switch dance. So switch dancing is when you switch who's leading and following partway through the dance. They would, like, steal switch. I don't know how to describe it, but most of the time when switching, the lead is the one who relinquishes control and then like the follow takes over and they switch. But I've done a switch dance with a friend of mine called Nick, and he kept stealing the lead. He kept forcibly going, no, I'm leading now. Which, like, don't do that unless you've like pre-agreed and you know the person very well. But like Dottie would 100% do that, and then Peggy would steal the lead back, and that they go back and forth of that, and that would be fucking incredible. Like, I can see that so much for them, like the stealing of the lead. Oh my god. It would also be hot as fuck. Like, I'm sorry. I will have to compromise with Maddie here, however, and I will agree that fine. Angie leads slow dance. But I'm coming back to that later. Daniel, I would like this quick one. He's not a fan of dancing after the war for obvious reasons, I fear. But I feel like it's something like at home late at night, drinking at like Stark's mansion, and they're like, Daniel, dance with us. By they, I mean like Peggy, Jack, whoever you want to like ship him with. I think he prefers leading, definitely in that scenario, because he can then control what moves he can do. And I'm not saying Daniel is like this guy, but there's a guy at Mustang. Mustang's the bar I go to on Fridays to dance, who is like old as fuck, can't move, doesn't talk, but he just kind of like grabs follows. It's weird and gross, but he doesn't like go to any school. He's not really part of the community, so no one can stop him. It's a public bar, I guess. But he just kind of grabs the follows and like moves them around. Not saying Daniel's like that, but it is very possible to lead without moving. And I think, in my heart, I'm like, I think Daniel would do that. He's leading, and then he can do like a tuck turn with like his somewhat limited mobility. I think that'd be cute. I think that'd be fun. He doesn't do it often. He has to be drunk enough because he, like, you know, gets self-conscious about that. Yeah. Jarvis canonically likes shag. Okay, so shag is energetic. I'll like either stitch in or send clips of shag to like explain this. It's a very upbeat, jumpy, up dance. It's got the hand up, it's very upwards. I'm like slowly coming around the more I think about it, but I can't really see Jarvis doing shag. Anna, I think, would be better at shag, but who knows? Like, it kind of fits for the character thing of like unexpectedly upbeat hobbies of Jarvis, but they should have done Bal. Hey, they're in California now. That would have been such a fun reference, Balboa. And I feel like it suits Jarvis more. it's just that little bit more like refined, close, tight. It can go big, it can go small, but it would just fit his character so much. I'm being really bad at describing it and explaining this, but Jarvis is such a bell dancer. Anna would be such a bell dancer too. Honestly, they would do so good at bell. Please, like, I wish they could have mentioned bell. That would have been such a better mention. He definitely Lindy's though. Yeah. Jarvis, Lindy Hop's like Jethro or Ben, I fear, because they're tall hoppers. They're tall. They're very like, they don't have too much really bouncy pulse. Like I think Anna has a bouncy pulse. Like, have you seen? She's bouncy when she's not dancing. She has pulse. Pulse is the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's not a good like counting because maybe it doesn't bounce in the right way. But like, it's the pulse of the dance. Your pulse. Some people have stronger or weaker pulse, and also it changes depending on the dance, the tempo, the style of the music. Someone pulled into the driveway. I'm gonna pause for a second. Okay, it was just a delivery from my dad. Where was I? Yeah, in my heart they call it Lindy and not East Coast. In my heart, because I think as like Eastern European Jew, I would really hope that Anna can see and understand like. Also, like, canonically, none of them are racist. I know it's not. Obviously, it wouldn't have been marketed to the racist dance, and like it would have just been more marketed to white people. But I would hope they seem really into the dancing. I would really hope that someone who is into that dance scene would understand where this dance came from and not call it East Coast. Like, honestly, with the East Coast thing, I think what probably happened is someone who knows more ballroom went, oh, East Coast, that's a dance. I think they definitely go out dancing every week. Like every week they go like out to a specific bar or whatever, because Anna's like, she knows, it's kind of like she knows all the different bars and like who goes there. Like she definitely goes swing dancing often, and like I think they go together. I think Jarvis, not too social, loves dancing with Anna, probably would dance with other people he knows well. But Anna, however, she is a social dancer. She will dance with everyone, I feel. Also, like those two together, I had this brainwave. They would dance like the most sensual blues you've ever seen. It would make you physically uncomfortable to watch them dancing blues because they'd just be so all over each other. I'll send you a video of Jessie doing blues. She's fucking incredible. But blues is a very sensual dance. It's very like, I don't have to explain it, but they would like, you just saw that kiss in season 2, like that, they would kill a blues dance. I can never see Anna doing shag more than I can Jarvis. I think Anna would be a very bouncy follow. She would be like Kieran. I don't think I could find a video of Kieran dancing, but she is the bounciest follow I've ever had the joy of dancing with. She's wonderful. But who I will have a video is Bron. I think her styling would be a little like Bron. It's very energetic, very light follow, very jumpy. I think Bron is definitely kind of like that. Or like Monique. I feel like Angie's more like Monique. What else have I got? Pulse, very pulsy. Yeah. That's shag thing. I don't know what the Excel actually shag. Either way, like I'm coming to terms with the fact that they might like shag, but I don't buy it. I feel like that would have been a much better reference. Angie's a Lindy gal through and through. Like, I'm sorry. She's in New York. She's in like the Broadway scene. She is a Lindy gal. I feel like she's a little bit like, kind of like Charlotte or Monique with her styling. She's very, very showy. Also, I'm sorry, Maddie, Angie is the most follow I've ever seen on television. She is a follow. There is nothing you can do to convince me otherwise, because follows are the showy ones. So what my dance teacher Charlotte often says is, like when explaining it, is leads give movement and direction, suggest movement and direction, follows make it look good. Follows are the ones doing the swivels with their arm up, they're doing variations, they're making the dance look incredible. Follows are the showy ones. It doesn't help that, like, historically they're usually women, and women the ones who wear like the fancy bright dresses. But any video of swing dancing you watch, the follow is the one who is doing like so many variations and making it look cool as fuck. Angie is a follow. I will compromise about the slow dancing or like blues. I think that would be fun to have Angie lead that, because I think blue, a lot more variations, is very leader based, more leader based than Lindy, but she follows Lindy. I am not giving up on this ever. This is, if anything in this notebook is true, it is that Angie follows. I think she's decently light. I think she'll be more like Monique as a dancer. Very light, very lithe, but still very powerful. Mon is known around like the scene. Mon is a Monique. Sorry, I should like explain my abbreviations. If you're on her line, she will run into you. So the line is when you're dancing, the follow has the line. The line basically means if you pull a follow in a direction, they have that direction. That line on the floor, that belongs to the follow. The lead needs to get the fuck off or the follow will run into them. Mon will run into you. If you do not get off her fucking line, she will run into you. That gives Angie. If you're not off the line, you are getting collided with. I think, yeah, she'd be decent at blues. But she's more energetic. She's a bounce. I think she'd be bouncing dancer, not as much as Anna, but she's a very energetic dancer. If you give her the end of the line, she will take the end of the line. Like if you do a send out, you will have to follow her out because she will just go for it. Jack. My little squishy boy. I think he knows how to dance for like social dance. Okay, since I've been thinking about this, I don't know actually. I think along with a lot of the agents, he would know how to Lindy to fit in for agent stuff. Originally I was thinking it was more for like growing up social standing, but I have since remembered that Lindy Hop was a commoner's dance. Like his father isn't fucking teaching him Lindy Hop. But I think he wouldn't know as like an agent to fit into dance. That's definitely a thing he would know. I think he would prefer following, but never would have tried it because like society and internal sexism and misogyny and all that. But he's never followed until Peggy, Daniel, Michael, whoever the fuck you want to ship him with, like convinces him to like late at night and like dance with me, follow, and like. Then he would realize, actually, I really like follow. He would never do it outside, ever, never admit to it, ever. But I think he would follow like Nick. Maybe that's just because it's the other like male follow I know. But Nick's a good follow. I also I had a little idea for like a scene thing. Okay, so like they're Peggy and Jack are on a mission. Like so they have to Lindy Hop to fit in. Halfway through the dance, Peggy like takes lead just so she can like move into a certain spot on the dance floor to watch their target or whatever, and then they both have this realization of like, oh, I actually prefer this better, with like Peggy leading, Jack following, and I think that would be very cute. And like then they spend the rest of the dance like switching back and forth. I think that'd be cool. They would like kill a switch dance. I just love the idea of like Peg leading and Jack following. Oh, my little bitch boy. I'll come back to that person. Michael leads Jack. I think he'd be very good. He's very smooth. Good dancer. He's a good dancer. He was definitely dancing with other boys during the war. Like, definitely. Dottie, Redwood would have taught her all the dances, especially like a common one in America that you'd have to know to fit in. I think she likes dancing with Peg. Like I said before, she'd kill the like Steels dance. Switch dance. It's very smooth and slinky. Kind of like Brighton. Again, I don't think I have a video of Brighton. She knows West Coast as well. So she's very smooth. West Coast is like Lindy, but danced to modern music with no pulse. It's very smooth. If you've ever seen like this dance is fully improvised, these partners don't know each other and they've been paired, they've danced this song without having heard it before. Things on Instagram, maybe it's just me, but that would be West Coast. It's smooth, but it's modern music. So Brighton does that, and so that translates over into her Lindy as she's a very smooth dancer. I think Duddy would be like that. Not a lot of pulse there, very calculated. Stucky. I have a story that goes along with this. I started dancing just over a year ago. At some point before that, I read a Stucky fanfiction in which pre-war Bucky Barnes competitively swing danced with his sister. I think it is just like Fannin, but sister was named like Rebecca. I keep seeing that in like a bunch of fics and headcanons, and I don't know if that's just Fannin or who knows. And then like the thing was that like Steve would then follow because Bucky would need to practice the aerials, and Steve was around the right size. And so I read that and I was like, oh, swing dancing. I've never really heard of that before. That sounds so interesting. I would love to learn that at some point. And then a few weeks after that, I see a flyer at the Mayor's advertising swing dancing classes near me. And so then I start swing dancing. I started swing dancing because of Stucky fanfiction. I have told one other person this and she laughed for a solid 5 minutes. I am never telling anyone in the dance community this. You guys need to promise not to tell anyone because it's really funny, but like I'm a little impressed about it. I don't want to like admit to normal people that I read Stucky fanfiction, I feel. Yeah, and then like that's basically all of my headcanons for them is just what I read in that fic because it was like my first exposure to Lindy Hop. It was, swing dancing. Yeah, I think Steve's pros following, and like I also just love the idea of, okay, I don't love the idea of Steve coming back, we know this, but like Steve does come back, or like somehow Steve, Peggy together dancing, Lindy Hop, Peggy leads, Steve follows. So I love the like, I'm hesitant to call it gender bend because like you shouldn't define these roles by their genders, but like so they are still pretty gendered. Like not explicitly, but generally women follow, men lead. At a higher level, like obviously a lot of dancers are ambi-dancers, but starting out, a lot of people start like that. I didn't. I started to lead because I'm a lesbian, but I have started following recently. That's actually all of my headcanons. This actually didn't take us, I think that, what is a bit, about an hour, just under an hour. I'm proud of myself. I think that's most of it. If anyone has any like additions or if I've just completely missed a character, who else is there? Rose does bow. California, she's really getting into the California scene with like the surfing. I think she would bow. What else? Yeah, I think that's most of it. I will either stitch in the clips of the episodes and also of the people I reference dancing, or I'll just send the clips separately in the group chat. Thanks for listening. Sorry for it being this long. I had no idea how long this would be. Thanks whoever for suggesting it. I had a lot of fun writing all my notes for this, even though I did like barely any research. But yeah, if you have any like other suggestions, I am more than happy to make a part 2. Please let me make a part 2 if you have more things that I should talk about